beautiful day in South Florida. We got Tom and Jimmy, Steve, another Tom, Randy, and Kenny in front of me. And I'm pulling up the rear here. I'm on Ruby, and I'm on the little bike. Compared to all these bikes ahead of me here, Kenny's got a road glide. Randy in the blue bike's got a road glide, and Tom has got a street glide. Steve's got a road glide, and Tom in the front's got another road glide. Jimmy just peeled off. Well, thank you all for watching and participating in my last video concerning Sturgis. I wish everybody the best of luck when it comes to Sturgis this year. But yeah, I've been riding just about every day and put on a tremendous amount of miles on Ruby, and that's really just exactly what Ruby needed. She needed to be run. And Big Shade, my 2017 Street Glide Special, has been able to take a bit of a rest, a well-deserved rest, I might add, on his part. And I've had just a tremendous amount of fun with this bike. Don't get me wrong, I like the big touring bikes, but the fun factor associated with riding this bike is something that I've never experienced before. I mean, I experienced it a little bit, but not anywhere near to the extent that I'm experiencing it with Ruby. I just love the fact that I think the best way to describe it is you interact with your ride so much more when you're on a naked bike like this, and especially a loud bike like this, especially a shovelhead, I guess, too. But those are secondary factors. You know, the interaction with your ride is orders of magnitude greater when you're on a bike like this. Now, having said that, please understand, I own a touring bike, as I just indicated a little while ago, and I love the touring bike. I love the Street Glide Special, and of course, if I decide to go on a trip, that's the bike for me. No questions about it. The comfort factor on the touring bike, the touring frame, is just very, very sweet. So for long distance, that's the bike you want to ride. You really do. You want to ride the touring bike for long distance. Now, the interesting thing about the bike I'm on right now is it's got a FLH chassis with a Sportster front end. So it does give you the comfort. You okay, Pops? You all right, Pops?
Family activities to do at home for the perfect staycation. Visit vrbo.com.
Well, 190 is, 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 190 Yeah, just a little history behind the Super Glide. You know, that's what they did. Harley Davidson, Willie G, they went on a big tour across the country. They talked with the people, and they found out what it was that people really found the most interesting about motorcycles at the time. And they saw what people were doing, and back in those days they were chopping their bikes up, and they were making a lot of modifications on their own. So Harley Davidson decided to take a page out of the book of what a lot of people were doing. And so they came out with the factory experimental line of motorcycles, the FX series. And the FX series was the predecessor to the Dyna series, as you may remember. That's really what the FX series was. It was a hybrid bike based upon customer feedback. They adopted a combination FLH frame with the Sportster front end. They put the two together, and lo and behold, that's what I'm on right now. So I've got a good comfort factor on this bike because of the touring frame that goes along with the Sportster front end. Plus, there's some heavy-duty shocks on the back of this bike too. So I do have some pretty good shock absorption going on here. I just think it's interesting that Harley was able to do that and get that feedback. What happened was, as you remember, in the transition from Harley to AMF, these bikes all started to come out in numbers, and the predominant engine back in those days used was the shovel head engine. The shovel head was the engine that came after the pan head, but the shovel head is what this bike has. And the shovel head continued to get produced and stayed in production till I think it was 80, well, the early 80s. Let's just say it. Let's just leave it at that. Finally, Harley Davidson bought AMF back from, broke away from AMF and became independent again. And they continued to produce the shovel head in limited numbers. Finally, of course, they decided to supersede the shovel head with the Evo engine, the Evolution engine, the Evolution motor, and they proceeded producing the Evo for quite a few years. As a matter of fact, it still is in production, but the shovel head was phased out. You can still get a shovel head engine from S&S, or there's a couple of other houses that produce them. But Harley Davidson doesn't produce a shovel head motor any longer.